Hello everyone and welcome. This is 647 here, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys something new, which is some Crusader Kings 2. Now, why are we playing Crusader Kings 2? An excellent question. Well, it's a paradox game that I have really gotten into over the last few years, and some of the successor games such as Europa Universalis 4 and Hearts of Iron 4 have also gotten into as well. But basically, one of the big things is that in Crusader Kings 2, it's about, medieval feudalism and, religious wars and stuff like that. It is a game that lasts from 760-ish to about 1450, which is exactly where Europa Universalis picks up. And in fact, there's actually a converter which runs from Crusader Kings 2 to Europa Universalis 4, which then goes from 1450 all the way to 1820. So I was thinking that I was going to do an entire playthrough from the very beginning of the earliest start date in Crusader Kings 2 all the way until the end of Europa Universalis 4. And, to make it more fun, I was, going to base it similar to Red with the XCOM series on, forum members and stuff like that. So why is that important? Well, in Crusader Kings 2, you get to play as individual characters. You don't just play as a country or a state, you actually play as characters. And then once your character dies, then you play as their heir if they are of the same dynasty and certain requirements are met. So, I was planning on playing somewhere in the Catholic realms, as it happens, just because I like the aspect of the Crusades and stuff like that. Plus, I haven't played as a Catholic in this game in quite some time. As it happens, where we start off in the game, most of this is actually, most of Spain, present-day Spain that is actually controlled by Muslims. And really, it's only France and Western Germany and Italy and parts of England that are actually Christian and Catholic at this time. Everything else is primarily Sunni in the Muslim world. We have the Orthodox Byzantine Empire, and then as we go east, we have Jainism, Hinduism, Buddhism. We have some Miphysite Christians. We have some West African religions. We have the Germanic pagans, Slavic pagans, Tangri, all that sort of stuff everywhere else. But we're going to focus on Christian Europe, and I was talking with some of the staff members, and they wanted me to start off here in England somewhere. And so instead of, playing as like a king or, a duke or something like that, I figured that I would start at the smallest of the small and play as, just a one province lord and, see where I can go and get as far as I can. I figured that I was going to start here in Sussex just because it's really the only one province state that it doesn't have a higher title. Surrey does as well, but I figured that I would be out on the ocean, make it a little more interesting. So we're going to do a ruler designer, and we are going to just randomize our character a little bit. And then we're going to change our coat of arms a little bit. Actually, no, we're not. We're going to keep that. We can change that later on. We will, because I'm the Sixlick, the first of his name, that looks a lot better. We will not be married, actually no, in this start date it's probably good to be married. Education, it's probably good to be a skilled tactician early on, fight some wars. We'll have no children to start off with, and we'll just do a one bump on everything. Age 34. Is there a trait that I want? I'll pick one trait. Let us pick a good trait that isn't incredibly expensive. Lustful's not bad. Need that fertility to start the dynasty off. Diligent is well worth that. And let's go with Proud. Oh, they fixed that finally. Proud used to be a trait that you could get basically for free, and it's actually a very good trait. No. If it's a green trait, it means that it's typically a bad trait. If it's red, it's taking away and it's taking up points that I theoretically have. I'll say I'm patient. And you know what? Diligent or patient? Diligent or patient? We shall remove all traits, and we'll just say that we are. Yeah, we'll start with no traits. Skilled Tactician, the first of his name, Dynasty of Northampton. No. Of Twam. Cyclic of Twam. And we will play this. No, we do not want Iron Man, because in case the save gets screwed up, then we lose everything. Yep, that's okay, that's okay, that's okay, that's okay. Everything's fine. So Iron Man is the only way to earn achievements in this game. I'm just turning it off just because it allows me to actually do some saves, because there tends to be, with an update, Iron Man saves get corrupted. Okay, so here we are in the game. Yep. AI doesn't want to be, because I made a thing. So, welcome to Crusader Kings 2. So, in Crusader Kings 2, you play as a succession of medieval rulers from a single dynasty. There is no set goal, but the world is filled with ambitious rivals. Secure more land to increase your power and protect your family. So basically, there's a few symbols here. You'll see them. Basically, you can't hold indefinite lands by yourself. People get unhappy, and basically there's a lot of consequences for doing this. As a ruler, your first priority is to secure an heir. If you do not have a legitimate heir when your character dies, the game will end. So, Crusader Kings 2 is a pausable real-time game. So, everything is just churning around, if you let the timer go. But you can time it, you can pause it to actually go and specifically do things. Okay, so we are playing an Anglo-Saxon Catholic Earl. Anglo-Saxon culture effects, nothing special. This isn't necessarily true, because there's a lot of events with Anglo-Saxons to reform into English and other stuff like that. So there are more specific things that you can do here. And those have things, but not really stated. Feudal government, basically I can hold castles and forts, just typical stuff without penalty. Playing as Catholic, we have bishops and popes. Pope is a big thing later on in the game, especially when crusades and stuff come in. So, we have Earl Sixlick and my lovely wife, Ealdgith, who's a lowborn. It's too bad. So, first things first, we have no heir, so we'll need to get right on that. So, we get to pick an ambition, something we want to shoot for, and then it will give us, something easy. I will say we want to have a son. That is probably the most important thing right off the bat. Then we can choose to focus, help some of our traits and stuff like that. There's like family, diplomacy, rulership, business, theology, intrigue. Hunting is probably a good one, is one of the best ones. War is a good one. Right now I'm going to choose family just because I need to secure relations with people, live longer, which is the health, and fertility, to have more kids. So we shall do that. Title loss on succession, that basically means when my character dies, I don't keep the county of Sussex, which is the case because I have no heir. So we have our council. These are important people in our realm that will do things for us. So this guy is 22, diplomacy. You see the blue chancellor, diplomacy, that's what I'm matching up here. That's good. We want someone like him in as their chancellor. As marshal, we want someone with a lot of marshal. Steward and spy master with intrigue. We also want this person to really like us because these people are the people that basically run the world of intrigue. If you want to kill someone, this is how you do it. You get their spy master on your side. So that's basically, click on my portrait, has my stats: diplomacy, martial, stewardship, intrigue, and learning. And then any traits that I have, and then any like personal combat traits or anything else that runs down here. Religion, what kind of government type I have, my current top title, and here is the house that I'm a part of. Sorry about that, had an important phone call to get at. So, where was I? I think I was talking about stats and what's up here. So yeah, your character is always here. This star means this is me. If there's like a teardrop that's red, it means it's like someone of my dynasty. Current top title that I hold, a spouse if I have one, my present heir. Notice my wife doesn't have an heir because she doesn't hold titles. But she does have, shows her lord up above here. And since I have no lord currently, I don't have one there. My religion, Catholic, type of government, feudal, dynasty, House of Twam, there's only one member, and that is moi, so far. Ambition, focus, talked about that before, diplomacy, martial, stewardship, intrigue, and learning. Diplomacy is how well you get along with other people. Martial is how well you can face wars and how large your armies can get. Stewardship is how much you make in tax and how much land you can hold. Intrigue is your deception and other stuff like that, so it's a lot of spy mastering and stuff like that. And then learning is pretty much how much you earn in technology. Okay, so the first tab up here is your council, important people that can do very important things. My chancellor, he can improve diplomatic relations with people, fabricate claims, or sow dissent among vassals. I have no claims on anything. Titles, claims, diplomacy. This is the three probably big important factors here. So basically, I want to get some claims on some stuff. Now, looking here, I'm only this small little land. I'm not going to be able to fight someone like Wessex or Mercia. That being said, though, or Essex, or even Northumbria up here, the only person that I'd probably be able to take one-on-one is probably Surrey. I'm Sussex. So I should probably get a claim on his land. Now, there's two major ways to get land in this game. One is to win it in a war, and the second is to inherit it through a dynasty or, something like that. Right now, because I'm the only one of my dynasty, odds are I'm not going to be inheriting any land anytime soon. So, back to council. So he's going to fabricate claims here. My marshal, he can suppress revolts in our land, train troops, or research military tech. This does nothing for me until I'm a duke, and I'm only a count right now because I don't have enough land, so I'm just going to train troops. It's pretty much the best thing that I can do for me right now. My steward can collect taxes, oversee construction, and research economy tech. This doesn't work until I'm a duke. Oversee construction, I'm not building anything in any of my provinces at the moment. In fact, I barely have enough money to even do so. So we're just going to collect taxes, earn some extra money. Our spy master, he can scheme, learn about plots and other stuff like that. I can build a spy network which will, defend against me, or I can study technology. This I can do whenever, as long as technology in another place is better than my own. At the beginning of the game, the only place that really has technology is Constantinople, so I will send my spy master off to Constantinople. Okay, and then we have our steward, our court chaplain. Religious stuff, so I can send him to convert people in my provinces, research cultural tech, yet once again can't really do until I'm a duke. Well, it really doesn't do anything until I'm a duke. Or I can improve religious relations with another priest. Well, as we can see here in the religion tab, this is all Catholic. So there is a holy site here in Kent, so that is something that would be a pretty beneficial thing for us to hold one day, but that's pretty much nothing to do. Neither of these two do anything for us right now, so we're going to improve religious relations, and there's only one person that we should always improve religious relations with, and that is the Pope. Hello, Pope. Pope Stephanus II. Okay, now to the next tab. Laws. So these are laws. It's how we inherit things, obligations of vassals with lands and taxes, with men and taxes, and other stuff going on. Inheritance is agnatic, cognatic, gravelkind. Now, what does that mean? So agnatic, cognatic means males, then females. Gavelkind, which means that you split it among your heirs, with your oldest one receiving your title. So if I have 3 sons, I split the land between my 3 sons, and the eldest gets a majority of it. There's all sorts of stuff like seniority, where the oldest person of the dynasty gets it. Primogeniture, only the first son inherits. Elective monarchy, ultimogeniture, and stuff like that. There's all sorts of different things, and there's different reasons you want these laws to be in effect. Ideally, you want to get to something like primogeniture later in the game, just because then it's everything that you have is passed down to one heir specifically, but that also causes issues. Stuff like elective monarchy tends to work out fairly well later in the game too, depending on how good you are. Then we have technology, so we have military advances, economic advances, and cultural advances. There will be a notification. This really isn't all too important. It just deals with some construction of buildings mainly, and just some nice little bonuses that you get every once in a while. Military is important. It's basically the amount of men that we have raised, unraised, that we can raise right now, and the max total that we can currently have. Eventually, basically, the way to expand this is to build buildings, raise troops using your marshal, and basically expanding your lands. You can do the same thing with fleets, and then you can later on in the game recruit mercenaries and holy orders as well to help fight for you. Intrigue is a lot of your decision points that you can do, like invite certain, random characters to your court and stuff like that. And you can do stuff like convert the Jews, or you can borrow money from the Jews and then expel them and stuff like that. Pretty funny stuff that you can do in this game. Because basically early on in the game you could borrow 300 gold from Jewish merchants and then expel them right away with no penalty to do so. And basically the penalty was like a slight reduction in your technology improvements, which really is kind of a joke in this game. But this is basically how you can, choose to see people dead and other stuff like that. Factions, basically vassals can choose to try to revolt and other stuff like that. And here, it's worth paying attention to when you get to like a king level or something like that. Religion, it auto-defacts to whatever religion I'm a part of, which is Catholicism. So it's our holy leader, the Pope. Moral authority is basically how much authority our religion has. And right now we're at 72.9%. We basically gain more authority by controlling our holy sites and winning holy wars. The only site that we don't hold right now is Jerusalem, so eventually we'll have to reconquer that in a crusade or something like that. Any religious vassals that I have that are direct are shown here. Then I can look at the College of Cardinals, see who's most likely next going to be voted in as the Pope, and how likely it is that one of my bishops becomes a cardinal. And then there's secret societies as well, but I'm not running a lot of that DLC. So yeah, let's look at what's going on here at our political situation. Right now, we have, this is important to note, that we have no ships. We won't be getting ships until like 50 or 60 years down the line. And at that point, we still won't have enough ships to really, cross any straits or anything like that. So right now, we'll be sticking to the British Isles. It's really the only thing that we'll have control over. Otherwise, the only way that we're going to be expanding on the mainland in France, Francia more specifically, more correctly actually, is basically through succession of titles and stuff like that. So it would be a good idea later on to marry into some of this stuff. Right now, we have the Caroline Dynasty controlling both West and Middle Francia. This is going to be a dominant force, and pretty much a majority of the game here is going to be influenced on how this all plays out in the next 50 years of what happens to these two kingdoms and how they expand or collapse. And another note, same thing with the Umayyad Sultanate here in Hispania, just because that will also be a determining factor as well. But regardless, we keep our eyes on England for now. Basically, one day we will want to be king. So right now, I only hold a single county, Sussex. And I will want to expand and kind of consolidate some of my power, but we also have some larger entities and blobs. If I get declared war on, I can't basically surrender without basically surrendering and losing the game. And I'm not going to be able to win against, the Duke of Wessex or the Duke of Mercia anytime soon. So basically, the second that I get notification that someone has claims on my land, I basically gotta jump in and basically say to someone else, like, hey, will you protect me and join their kingdom? But let's try not to do that as much as we possibly can. Basically, what we want to do is we want to become a duke, so we're going to look at de jure duchies. So certain areas are, so we have a single province. Let's start. So Sussex is a province, Kent is a province, Surrey is a province, Middlesex is a province. They are provinces that are one thing. They have a few holdings of castles and stuff like that, and a few of these make up, and depending on the size of the duchy and other stuff like that, make up a duchy. So these are de jure duchies. This means that this is how the game views land being properly owned. So there's two big terms, de jure and de facto. So de jure is what it should be, which is this should be part of the Kingdom of Wessex. This should be part of, the Duchy of Wessex, this area here. This should be a part of the Duchy of Normandy. This should be a duchy, part of the Duchy of York. De facto is what is actually there. There is no Duchy of York. It is the Duchy of Northumbria, because the Duke of Northumbria controls York. Same thing here. Right now, I am de jure, and this is a key thing, I am de jure part of the Duchy of Kent, but I'm not de facto. The Duke of Kent does not control my lands. In fact, he has a diplomacy malice against me that says that he wants the County of Sussex because it is rightfully his. Anyways, so this is a contender for someone who will want and attack us for land. Then, after duchies, a group of duchies become a part of a de jure kingdom. the Kingdom of England, for example. That's what we are in. But it's not de facto. When we look at the realms, there is no Kingdom of England. It has to be created yet. No one has created the Kingdom of England. If you gain enough power as a duke, you can create the Kingdom of England. And then, if you control, multiple kingdoms, you can make an empire, Britannia, Hail Britannia. It's the same thing of what's going on here. So we have the de facto Kingdom of West Francia and the de facto Kingdom of Middle Francia. Well, if we look at the de jure kingdoms, though the land that they contain are West Francia, Middle Francia, East Francia, Burgundy, and Aquitaine. We have 5 kingdoms that are being held by 2 kings right now. And when I said earlier that this is where a lot of things are going to be playing out, this is what I mean. There are going to be powerful vassals, there are going to be powerful lords that are in these kingdoms that will say, you know what, I want to be a king in my own right. And this is where it'll get interesting. What does this implode? Does this destroy itself? Or does it, become one kingdom that is ruled by one king who becomes an emperor? Who knows? It'll be interesting to see. Anyways, let's get the game going. It is January 1st, 769, and we will unpause the game. Actually get stuff going down. Now, everything in this game basically has time to hit. I did my Chancellor, who is fabricating claims. There's a possibility every single month, because this is actually broken down per month instead of yearly, as it says. But basically, divide that number by 12, and that is the percentage every single month that he randomly will get a claim on this county, this province. So right now our primary goals is we will want to build more buildings, which will need gold, which we're earning at 1.37 ducats per month right now. Prestige is important. It basically helps how people view us and how well known we are in the world. Piety is religious stuff. A lot of, it's important with, communicating with bishops and other stuff like that. Okay, looks like perfect example, guys. We're not even a year into the game, and we have a revolt in the Kingdom of Middle Francia. This black and red, you guys will see it all the time. Actually, we have 2 revolts. So we have the Middle Francian Revolt, Vaudoux, who is actually just a count. He is attacking King Carloman of Middle Francia in the Middle Francian Revolt War for Prince Theodoric's claim on Middle Francia. So, there is a claimant to the Kingdom of Francia, who is Theodoric, who is this guy right here. He has a claim on this kingdom, and someone else is fighting a war on his behalf to usurp the throne and put him on it. Now that is one revolt, and then we have the second revolt, who is attacking him for King Carl's claim on Middle Francia. Now King Carl is his brother, actually. He is the brother of Carloman. So someone else is fighting a war on his behalf, and he's not even taking part of it. And that's the key thing, is the only way to take part in wars is in this game is either for it to be a religious war and to join on the side of your religion, or to have an alliance with someone. And so there's a lot of times where someone is fighting a war on your behalf because you have a claim on a kingdom within that kingdom, and you can't do anything to help them out, except for declare your own war, which just complicates matters. But here we have King Carl, who, is someone else is fighting a war on his behalf, is fighting another war, and who is attacking the Umayyad Sultanate in the West Francian Holy War for Navarra. Now, de jure Duchy of Navarra is right here. Now, the de facto part of it is held by Asturias, which is a Catholic kingdom, and we have the Umayyads, which holds the other part of the duchy. Now, as we see, there's actually 2 wars going on. The Umayyads are fighting one war against Asturias to take the Duchy of Galicia, which is up here, and they're also defending at the same time against West Francia. So you can have all these wars going on, even over conflicting titles too. And you can have, so right now, even though Asturias and West Francia are both fighting the Umayyads, they are not allied in a same war. So once one of them pieces out in a peace deal, the other one is fighting on their own. So that is a big thing, is sometimes in this game you want to stay in a war longer so you can help another AI beat an AI. So all around you double hurt an AI in a war or something like that. We'll get more into wars when we actually start fighting them, but for now it is time for peace and prosperity in our realm. And the most fun part of Crusader Kings 2, waiting for things to happen. Okay, we have a small revolt here. There's a big revolt in Scotland, actually. Oh, Pickland. It's technically Pickland right now, but and they're fighting a war for. So this guy actually has a claim on the Kingdom of Pickland, and he is fighting the King of Pickland for for it. And he controls like half of the kingdom, so actually more than half. So, ooh, and events. See, most events pause here. So since it's blue bordered, it involves diplomacy. So it says, my young wife has taken a passion for romantic poetry. She keeps reading any sort of romantic poetry she can get a hold of. Get her to read more. Lose 10 gold. She gains more fertility and she becomes lustful, which is more fertility as well. That's her interest, not mine. I lose fertility. Oh, she loses fertility. I gain some piety. And those books are created by Satan. She becomes chaste, which decreases fertility, and we gain more piety. We need an heir, so we will go for the greater good. So we have another event. It is white this time, so it is learning. So religious, typically. Fingers of John the Baptist, discount price for a box of 10. Bishop brings to your attention that the false drugs are being sold at the mic. Can get grave profits. They do, of course, generate a lot of commerce and taxes, but still rather immoral and blasphemous. Crack down on these criminals. We lose some gold, gain some piety, and the church loves us. Let them be. Church does not like that. Get on with business. Get in on the business. We gain some gold. We gain the trait greedy. So we gain more taxes, -1 diplomacy. That's not too bad. And we have a 30% chance of becoming cynical, which decreases our monthly piety but increases intrigue. We'll get in on the business. Okay. We have some gold, so we can start building stuff. We have castle fortifications, which include boost fort level, not too important right now. Castle walls is going to be important. It's levy, size, tax, income, and fort level. So, yeah, we'll build castle walls. We have yet another revolt, defending against King Offa of Mercia, and King Offa of Mercia's war to revoke Worcester. Actually, it's not a revolt. He is saying no. Well, he's technically revolting against his duke, because his duke is trying to revoke land against him. Another big thing my steward has collected tithe. Oh, tithe, whatever. Basically, a big thing in this game is wars have to have reasons to be fought. You can't fight a war. I can't just declare war on the Kingdom of Wessex. See, it says I must have a valid casus belli, so I basically have to have a reason to declare war. I have no reason to declare war on him, therefore I can't. It's the same thing with religious wars. Right now, mine are only, I have to basically border an enemy, a religious enemy. So if I do the Kingdom of Saxony, it's too far away for me to declare a religious war because of the water. Oh. Oh, okay, so, once again, when I get to that, you know, what's going to be important? King Carl of West Francia. Looks like his brother died a natural death. So it looks like he inherited the kingdom because his brother died. And now, West Francia. Oh. King of Scotland. To the great Earl Siclic, you may live in harmony and contentment. We propose that Euro map Aberdeen and Ethelfled. Mary. Ethelfled is just some lowland courtier for me. And this is the steward and heir to some stuff. Yeah, sure, whatever. Be gone. Be rid of her. If he wants to marry peasants, he may marry peasants. Come on, Chancellor, you have 22 diplomacy. That's incredibly high, by the way. Should be much better. Guess walls have been built. We have 40 ducats. Can we build anything? Nope. Next big build mark is... That's castle fortifications, not too important. 140 then. 140 for barracks? Yeah. Probably, yeah. Feels like everyone is trying to trump me. My huntsman killed more prey than I. My counselors found a better solution to the rebellious peasants than mine, and I started to feel that everyone was better than me, no matter what. If they're better than me, then I have to accept that. I gain the trait kind. I envy them all. I become envious. Well, 45% chance of each. Kind, intrigue, diplomacy, vassal opinion, and envious, intrigue. You know, I'm gonna go with kind, just because, and it looks good. I did kind. A group of hedge knights have come to visit Sussex. Ephraim has met with them and asked for my reply. I welcomed them with lavish feet. I gained the trait gregarious, and I lose the trait greedy. Okay, that's too bad, but gregarious is a diplomatic thing. So now my diplomacy is now 12. Hedge knights have participated in minor tournament. Pray for looks like one of them was injured. Pray for some medication, send them on their way. Lose gold, gain from some piety. Allow them to stay at the castle while he recovers. Gain the trait just, stewardship and learning. Yeah, that's a good trait. Worth. See, right now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to improve my traits and basically stay at home. Hopefully, you know, gain an heir and, you know, have a son. But also, by improving my traits, I get more gold per month. Instead of at 1.37 earlier, I'm now at 1.90. And by improving my martial and other stuff like that, I also have time to allow my men to recover. Looks like my spy master died after a period of illness. That is too bad. We will... Ooh, this guy's quick. That's a good trait. Speaking of traits, so the green traits that have like the little numbers below them, those are the 7 virtues, and then the red ones are their opposite, or, you know, similar, is the 7 deadly sins. Gluttony, you know, slothfulness, and stuff, lust. But the heart-shaped ones are genetic, or like they will stay with you the rest of your life. Quick, genius. There's some blue ones as well that are like being a cripple and stuff like that. Those will stay with you your entire life. Getting something like quick is a very good chance for it to get passed on to your heirs and stuff like that. So a lot of times, if one of your heirs gets this, you kind of want to play around and try to get your heir that guy to become your heir, because that way you have a very high chance of that getting passed down. But right now we need a new spy master, and we will study in Constantinople because there's no reason not to. It's still the best place for technology at this point in time. But once again, if we look at technology, well, I'll show it to you later, but basically there was a few green spots here, and that was only because if you looked, those were like places where kings are. But yes. Alright, well, I think now is a good time to actually take a break. You know, move on to the next part. Hopefully things will actually start to kick off more than, you know, just me explaining stuff. But yeah, thanks. Let me know what you guys think, and have a great day.